OU DNA runs deep at every position, but from the wishbone to the air raid, one theme remains consistent: elite talent at running back. Heisman winners, NFL stars, and record breakers. Let's take a look at the top 10 running backs in Sooner history. Number 10 is Damond Parker. He provided a bright spot during a rough period for the Sooners that included 3 different coaches and a lot of losses. The Oklahoma native redshirted his freshman year in 1995, then went on to gain 1,000 or more yards the following 3 seasons, all of which rank in the top 25 all-time in Oklahoma. In '96, Parker was the Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year and was also a 3-time second-team All-Big 12 selection. One of his most notable games was the rivalry game against Texas in '97, where he rushed for 291 yards and 3 touchdowns in a losing effort. Parker ended his career ranked 8th in Sooner history with 3,403 yards, 21 touchdowns, 16 100-yard games, and 5 200-yard games. I honestly think Parker would place much higher on this list if he had played in any of the other OU eras besides the one he was in. Number 9 is Quentin Griffin. While Griffin might not have looked intimidating on the field, listed at 5'7", 190, he absolutely demolished defenses in his path. Arguably, Griffin's best performance came in Oklahoma's national championship winning season in 2000 at a perfect time against rival Texas, where he rushed for 87 yards and 6 touchdowns, a touchdown record that still stands over 20 years later. His best year was his senior year in 2002, where he led the Big 12 in rushing with over 1,800 yards and 15 touchdowns to cap off a stellar collegiate career. Griffin was a second-team All-Big 12 selection in 2000 and a first-team All-Big 12 selection in 2002. He finished top 10 in Big 12 history in career rushing yards, yards from scrimmage, and career touchdowns. Along with being a key player during Oklahoma's latest national title, Griffin is also a 2-time Big 12 champion. He finished his 4 years in Norman ranked 6th in school history in rushing yards, 4th in rush attempts, and 5th in rushing touchdowns, which included 16 100-yard games and 4 200-yard games. He also had over 1,000 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns, and is currently ranked 4th all-time in all-purpose yards in Sooner history with over 5,000 yards and 50 total touchdowns. DeMarco Murray lands at the 8th spot. After redshirting his freshman year, he had over 100 touches in each of his next 4 years at Oklahoma. He shared the load with running backs including Alan Patrick, Chris Brown, and Moses Madu before taking center stage his senior year in 2010, where he dominated the backfield with 282 rush attempts, over 100 more than his previous career high. There's no coincidence that his senior season was his best statistical year, one in which Murray had over 1,800 yards from scrimmage and 20 total touchdowns. His standout season in 2010 also saw him land first-team Big 12 honors, which he also had in 2008 while making the second team in 2009. He played a key role in 3 Big 12 championships for the Sooners and a national championship appearance in 2008 that unfortunately he wasn't able to play in due to injury. Murray is top 5 all-time in Big 12 rushing touchdowns and touchdowns from scrimmage. After 4 years with the Sooners, he is the 7th leading rusher and 3rd in career rushing touchdowns, rushing for 13 100-yard games. He was also a dual threat out of the backfield with over 1,500 career receiving yards and 13 touchdowns, topping the Oklahoma record books as first place in all-purpose yards, total touchdowns, and 2nd in rushing attempts. Number 7 is Samaje Perine. Perine stepped foot in Norman in 2014 and made an immediate impact. In just his 4th game for the Sooners, he rushed for 242 yards and 4 touchdowns against West Virginia. Then, a few weeks later, he topped that with a record-breaking 427 yards and 5 touchdowns against Kansas. He finished his freshman season with over 1,700 yards and 21 touchdowns, winning Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year and making first-team All-Big 12 and second-team All-American. His next 2 years, he shared the backfield with another standout in Joe Mixon, and the two proved to be a dynamic and elite combination as the Sooners won the Big 12 in 2015 and 2016. Perine is top 10 in Big 12 career rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. In his 3 years in Norman, he holds the school record for rushing yards, is 6th in career rushing attempts, and 4th in rushing touchdowns, with 15 100-yard games and 6 200-yard games, tied for 2nd all-time. Number 6 is Billy Vessels. Billy Vessels was at Oklahoma from 1949 to 1952, but burst onto the scene as a starter his sophomore year in 1950. That year, he helped lead the Sooners to their first ever national championship, rushing for nearly 900 yards and 13 touchdowns. Vessels injured his knee early in the 1951 season, missing most of the games that year. However, that injury didn't stop him, as Vessels went on to win the Heisman the following year, recording over 1,000 yards and 17 touchdowns, while rushing for just under 7 yards a carry. His Heisman moment came against Notre Dame in what was the first nationally televised OU game, rushing for nearly 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in a losing effort. He was praised by legendary Oklahoma coach Bud Wilkinson as being the only player who he had coached who was not only the fastest player on the team, but also the toughest. Vessels finished his career at Oklahoma with over 2,000 yards rushing, 31 touchdowns, averaging 6.4 yards a carry with 10 100-yard games and 1 200-yard game. At number 5, we have Steve Owens. Owens was an absolute workhorse in his time at Oklahoma, with over 900 rushing attempts over his 3-year career with the Sooners. During that time, he led the Big 8 in pretty much everything. Rush attempts, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, and points, all 3 years. He broke multiple records, including the Big 8 record for rushing yards in a season, the national record for most carries in a season, and 17 straight games of at least 100 yards rushing. He also holds the career record in the Big 8 Conference for touchdowns and points. Owens became the second player in Oklahoma history to win the Heisman in 1969, a year in which he also won the Walter Camp and was a unanimous All-American selection while leading the nation in rush attempts with 358 for over 1,500 yards and 23 touchdowns. The year included a huge game against Oklahoma State, where he ran the ball 55 times for 261 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 1-point win for the Sooners. Owens helped lead the Sooners to 2 Big 8 titles in '67 and '68. His career marks for Oklahoma put him at 5th all-time in rushing yards, 1st in rush attempts, almost 200 more than 2nd place, and 1st in rushing touchdowns, with a school record 23 100-yard games and 3 200-yard games. Greg Pruitt is number 4. Pruitt was actually set to be a receiver but got switched to backup running back in the Wishbone offense. He took over as a starter due to injury and never looked back, excelling at the position. He was a 2-time consensus All-America selection in '71 and '72, and in '71 broke the single-game rushing record at the time with 294 yards and 3 touchdowns against Kansas State. Pruitt helped lead the Sooners to a Big 8 title in 1972. He was 3rd in Heisman voting in '71 and 2nd in '72 despite being injured late in the season. He finished his career with nearly 3,000 yards rushing and is first in school history in yards per carry. I'd also like to point out he ran for an absolutely insane 9 yards per carry in 1971. He's 9th in school history in rushing touchdowns and 7th in all-purpose yards, with 13 100-yard games and 3 200-yard games. Number 3 is Joe Washington. He played for the Sooners from '72 to '75, contributing all 4 years. He wasn't the biggest back at 5'9", 179, but was speedy and elusive. He helped lead Oklahoma to 3 straight Big 8 titles and 2 national titles in 1974 and '75, finishing 3rd and 5th in Heisman voting each of those years. In '74, Washington helped spearhead the nation's leading scoring offense, averaging 43 points a game. He was 3rd-team All-American in '73 and a 2-time consensus All-American selection in '74 and '75. Washington ranks 3rd in school history in career rushing yards and 8th in rushing touchdowns, with 19 100-yard games and 1 200-yard game. At number 2 on this list, I have Adrian Peterson. Peterson took very little time to make his arrival known in Norman, breaking multiple records his first year on campus in 2004. He led the conference in rushing with 1,925 yards, a freshman record, and led the nation with 339 carries. In his first 9 games, he rushed for 100 or more yards and set the freshman record for total 100-yard games with 11. That season, he finished a controversial 2nd in Heisman voting. He was also voted a unanimous All-American and Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Unfortunately, Peterson's next 2 seasons were affected by injury, but he still managed to eclipse the 1,000-yard mark in each and was named first-team All-Big 12 all 3 years. Peterson finished just 73 yards shy of breaking the Oklahoma career rushing record at the time held by Billy Sims. He sits at 4th in career rush yards, 7th in rushing touchdowns, 3rd in rush attempts, and 2nd in 100-yard and 200-yard rushing games for the Sooners. Finally, at number 1, I have Billy Sims. Sims was a part of the Sooner program from 1975 to 1979, a span that saw Oklahoma win a national title in '75, led by Joe Washington, and an outright or share of the Big 8 title each season. Unfortunately, his early career was plagued with injuries, including an injury his sophomore season that allowed him to redshirt, a low point that saw him quit the team before being convinced to return. And that was the turning point. Once he was healthy, he broke out, rushing for almost 1,900 yards and 7.6 yards per carry as a junior, breaking the school's single-season total yardage record, leading the NCAA, and winning the '78 Heisman Trophy in the process. He put up excellent numbers his senior year and just fell short of winning the Heisman back-to-back, finishing 2nd. He led the NCAA in rushing touchdowns both seasons. His decorated final 2 seasons also saw him become a 2-time consensus All-American while winning the Davey O'Brien and UPI Player of the Year alongside his Heisman in '78. Sims was Oklahoma's long-standing career leader in rushing yards for nearly 40 years before it was broke, and is 2nd in school history in rushing touchdowns, which is all the more impressive considering most of his production came over a 2-year span. He is ranked 3rd in yards per attempt with almost 7 yards per carry. Over his career, he has 2,100-yard games and a school record 7 200-yard games. No list this competitive is without controversy, so let me know in the comments what I got right and what you would change. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a bunch. Check out this video here, and as always, have a great day and see y'all at the next one.